Welcome to Each One Reach One, everybody. I appreciate you guys joining me today, family. Let us begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH BAHASHEM YAHAWAHSHI. All praises due. Grace, peace, and blessings to you out there listening, the elect of Israel, my family. Glad you can make it today. We've come together today, you guys, to discuss a very important topic as pertaining to our preparation for the kingdom, preparation for Yahushai's return. We're working very hard in this time to transform ourselves, right? We're working hard to be obedient and to do those things which are pleasing to the Most High. We're getting our spirits ready for everything that is promised to come, right? One thing we can't leave out in all this preparation, family, is the preparing of our children. How do we prepare our children? Are you preparing your children, or are you just expecting them to be sanctified by you and they'll come along and everything will be great? Are you not getting them ready? You should be getting them ready, because there will be no rebellious children in the kingdom. There will be no rebellious children in the gathering of the nation that happens before the kingdom. So we have to pour into our children as well, not just ourselves. We got to fill up their cup, get them ready. All right. It is your job, Akim, as the head of your household, as the head of your children's lives. Even if you and the child's mother or the children's mother aren't together, you're still in charge of teaching and spiritual matters, spiritual growth. Okay. And I know what I'm going to talk about here is easier said than done, but it has to be spoken of. Okay. Because I know for a fact, because I've had conversations with brothers, and brothers are having issues right now with being able to be the men and being the disciplinarians and correctors of the children. Because you got women out there who just want to allow you to be a man, will just want to allow you to do what a father is supposed to do, right? So what I thought was I'll put together this lesson so you can see through the scripture. So then you can then show it, to your wives or your girlfriends, or, whatever case it may be, your children's mother, right? Or your children's father. If you're an Aquath out there and you have a husband or, your child's father who knows nothing and cares nothing about discipline, and he lets the children run wild, they have to be shown in the scripture. If they are people who care about the word of the Most High, then they'll take heed. If they don't care about the word of the Most High, well, there's not much you can do as far as this word goes to be able to convince them or to teach them otherwise, right? You can't convert them. So I would just say that it's going to be on you to make sure that you have to instill in your children what is most beneficial to them, even if the other parent won't take part, okay? Do not leave your children out of the transformation process that's going on, Israel, all right? So I think I'm going to call this lesson, Spare Not, all right? Now, let's get it. So for those who are in this truth, you've been reading the scriptures. One thing above all that you understand is that the Most High believes in chastisement. He believes in discipline. Everything that we have gone through as a nation has been as a result of his badass children needing to be corrected, right? We needed to have our asses whooped. We needed to be spanked real good in order to learn the lesson, in order to be able to deserve the blessings that he has in store for us, all right? So discipline and correction, chastisement, that's the theme of this lesson. Let's get into the scripture. We're going to begin in Ecclesiasticus, chapter 34, verse 23. This scripture is concerning dueling parents, all right? Dueling parents that are not on the same page, right? This applies to you, all right? Listen, when one buildeth and another pulleth down, what profit have they then but labor? If you have two parents, one parent has been a disciplinarian and the other parent has been an enabler. You know, dad is putting it down when he's around and he's doing the correcting. And then when dad is absent, when he's not around, then mom is allowing the kid to do all the things contrary to what dad said, all the things contrary to dad's chastisement and discipline, right? Mom won't uphold what dad said, or dad won't uphold what mom said. Dad just let the children run wild, right? No boundaries, no limits, won't even do so much as raise his voice, right, to correct them. That's horrible, right? That's horrible. Not only, you know, for the team that's supposed to be the parents, but it's horrible for the children. You know, it's your children that pay the price when parents are not on the same page. The children will always, you know, show preference to the parent that's allowing them to do whatever it is they want to do, right? And that's not the healthiest thing or the smartest thing for your child. If you love them, you will discipline them. You will provide them with the structure that they need, okay? That's the bottom line. One can't be building and the other be pulling down. Otherwise, what profit have they then but labor? All you did was work. You didn't achieve anything. You didn't accomplish anything. There was nothing that came of all that work. It was all for naught. All right? Take that scripture to heart. Dueling parents spoils the children. All right? They're watching, they're paying attention, they're not dumb, they will play one against another. Right? And they will listen most to the one that's allowing them to do what they want to do, because their children want to be able to be free and have no boundaries. So if the disciplinarian is not in the house and the other parent who, you know, lets them do whatever they want to do is around, and you're going to let them do what they want to do, they're not going to say, oh, you know what, mom, or you know what, dad, mom says I shouldn't be doing this, or mom or dad said this is not good and this is bad and I'm going to get in trouble for doing this. They're not going to do that. If you let them do it, they're going to do it and try to get away with it. See, you're only hurting them though, because now you're creating a disobedient child, and a disobedient child needs to be corrected more often. They need correction more often. Now the parent that is a disciplinarian has to double the work, triple the work, quadruple the work, right? Because you're constantly pulling down the bricks of that house of discipline that he or she has been building. You're causing the child to have to get more chastisement. You're causing that child to have to now suffer a rift between him or herself and that parent. You're ruining the child's relationship with the father or the mother, and you're ruining that child's relationship with the world, because what you're grooming is going to be someone who has no accountability. And you are the first stage in discipline. If they don't learn discipline and correction from you, they won't be able to take it from the rest of the world. There's nothing the rest of the world is going to be able to tell them or to do. They're going to be full-fledged heathens. All right. All right. So let's get back to the scripture. All right. I want to get Proverbs chapter 3, verse 11. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father, the son in whom he delighteth. All right? That's important. The Most High loves you, so he corrects you. Everything that he put us through was all about correcting us because he loves us, because he has great rewards and great blessings in store for us at the end of this captivity and everything that we've been through. But we have to deserve it. He's making us earn it. He's making us deserve it, as you should as a parent. You're supposed to correct your children. You're not supposed to let bad behavior go unchecked, unpunished. You are supposed to chasten them. All right? Despise not the chastening of the Lord. And for some of you people out there who are scared to chasten your children because you don't want them to hate you, you want them to love you and see you as the fun parent, the cool parent, let me tell you this right now. Children don't respect the fun parent or the cool parent. They respect the one who put that, put that belt down, or I should say, pick that belt up. Can y'all dig it? The parent that uses that rod of correction, that's the one they respect. They're not going to respect you because you're allowing them to do what they want to do. Oh, they're going to run you over. You're going to let them do what they want to do so much, and then you're going to wait till it's too late to correct them, and then try to tell them something, and they're going to look you dead in your face, call you by your first name, disrespect you, and make you feel like the worst piece of shit that never walked the earth. And you're going to be like, well, how could you do me like this? I love you so much. I let you do everything you want to do. Why are you treating me like this? It's because you let them do everything they wanted to do. That's why. I, as an adult, I love my parents, and I appreciate every ass whooping I got, every bit of correction, all the punishments, all of it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You do what I'm saying? And your children will appreciate it. They will respect you, and it's much needed. They're going to be better off for it. You got to do what you have to do, not what they want to do. All right? You got to be thinking about them, not you, not your relationship with them. But on that same note, if you were really concerned about your relationship with them, the best way to have a great relationship with them is to be a disciplinarian, because they will indeed disrespect you and run you over and show you no regard. You will get no thanks, no reward for allowing bad behavior. Okay, let's continue on. Let's get Proverbs chapter 5. Let's begin at verse 1. My son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow thine ear to my understanding, that thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman drop as in honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps take hold on hell. Lest thou shouldest ponder the path of life, her ways are movable, that thou canst not know them. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove thy way far from her, and come not nigh the door of her house. Lest thou give thine honor unto others, and thy years unto the cruel. Lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger. And thou mourn at the last, when thy flesh and thy body are consumed. And say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ear to them that instructed me. This is words of wisdom on following instruction, not despising reproof. How do you cause your children to despise reproof? Two ways. One, you never give them any reproof. You never give them any correction during their most formidable years, their highest development years. And then you wait until they're older, after you had a long track record of no discipline. Then all of a sudden you want to decide to be a parent and put your foot down when they're teenagers, when you've never chastised them when they were young. Then they will despise your reproof. They will despise you. They will hate instruction. They will hate it. And they will mourn at the last, because they will pay the penalty for being people that have no discipline, that have hated instruction, who despise reproof. Their end is going to be horrible, and you, the parent, will be responsible. You will be responsible for what you raised, for what they became. It will be all your fault. You didn't give them what you were supposed to give them so that they could become the kind of people they were supposed to become. And so who they became, it's all on you. And an unaccountable adult was once an unaccountable child. An adult that lacks discipline was once a child that lacked discipline. An adult that can't be told shit was once a child that couldn't be told shit, or wasn't told shit, I should say. You guys get this? Right now, your children aren't going to understand this, but this is what they will go through. If you fail at your job, if you fall asleep at the wheel and decide not to be a parent, if you try to be the friend or the mom who want to act like the cool auntie, you're going to pay the price, but your children are going to pay the bigger price. It's going to be all your fault. If you love them, You better correct them, or you're setting them up for failure. Let's continue. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. Listen, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. Not allowing them to do whatever they want to do. No, no, no. Reproofs of instruction are the way of life. Are you leading your children in the ways of life or in the way of death? Rebellious children are on the road to the way of death, and it's going to be your fault. Are you setting your children up for success or failure? Ask yourself that. Do you care? Do you care how they turn out? Do you care what things happen to them in life because of who they are, because of who you groomed them to be? Do you care? Does it not matter to you? It is your job, your responsibility as a parent over that spirit, over that soul, to give them reproofs of instruction, because they are the way of life. Proverbs chapter 8. Let's get chapter 32 and 33. Now, therefore, hearken unto me, O ye children, for blessed are they that keep my ways. Listen what he says. Hear instruction, and what? And be wise, and what? And refuse it not. Hear instruction and be wise, and refuse it not. This is the commandment of the Father, right? So now let's ask ourselves something. If you have a man, he's a grown man, he never was made to hear instruction, to be wise. He was allowed to refuse instruction. He was allowed to refuse to obey. Will he become more wise when he gets older and more likely to hear instruction and refuse it not? Or will he be less likely to hear instruction and be wise and less likely to refuse it? What do you think the case may be? Yes, exactly. So it starts with you right now, right? It starts with your training. They are in the training season. You are getting them ready for the latter part of their lives, the more lengthier part of their lives, power willing. You are supposed to teach them in the way right now. Get them used to hearing instruction, showing them that hearing instruction is the way to be wise. Your consistency in doing this will make them refuse it not. They will take that teaching into their adulthood, and it will be part of their character. Let's keep it going. Studying Proverbs, y'all. We're going to be in Proverbs most of the way through this, all right? We're going to get all these gems out of Proverbs. So Proverbs chapter 10, verse 1. The Proverbs of Solomon. A wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother. Where does it start? Where do your children first learn and begin to comprehend exactly what makes them wise? What makes them better people? When they're the youngest. When they're moldable clay. A wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother. You're absolutely right. Be a weak-ass father, raise a weak-ass son. Your son will be your dread. He will dishonor you. He will be an embarrassment. You be sitting there like, how did the apple fall so far from the tree. He's nothing like me. He will be out of your control. A wise son maketh the glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother. Women who baby their little boys, baby their little girls, do not hold them accountable. Let them run rampant and do whatever the fuck they want to do. You will raise a foolish son or a foolish daughter who will indeed be your heaviness. Aquath. Will indeed be your heaviness, because they will cause you dread as well. You will have no control over that child, no respect. They will adhere to no form of discipline later if you withhold it early. They'll be in and out of prison. Little girls will be pregnant, teenagers. You ever seen women and they've had rebellious ass daughters and they've actually had to have fist fights, real life fist fights with their children, with their daughters? You ever seen it? You ever seen the disrespect that comes from a little girl to her mother after her mother had raised her for so long with zero discipline, zero chastisement, and then all of a sudden when she becomes a fiery fucking teenager, then she wants to tell her something? Have you ever seen that explosion? I have. It is not a pretty sight. And that daughter will forever, or that son will forever be a heaviness of his mother and a dread to the father. Staying in chapter 10, let's move down to verse 17. He is in the way of life that keepeth instruction, but he that refuseth the reproof erreth. Who is in the way of life that keepeth instruction? Who? I'm sorry, who is in the way of life? He that keepeth instruction, right? But he that refuseth what? To keep instruction. Refuseth reproof, correction, chastisement. They erreth. And whose fault is it? If they become the type of adults that don't keep instruction, that refuse reproof and correction, whose fault is it? The parents, right? Absolutely. And why would you not force your kids at an early age to be disciplined, to be in line and in order, when you know that's the way of life? You love them. You want them to have a long, hearty life, right? You want your child to know how to conduct themselves when they're out there in the public, right? You don't want your child out there doing things that's going to put their lives in jeopardy because you didn't give them any boundaries when they were in the house. So now they're out there in the world with no boundaries, no limits. They don't have any respect for authority because you never taught them it. They never learned respect for authority in the house. You allowed them to disrespect you, yell at you, curse you out, and all sorts of wicked, dumbass shit, right? So they get out there, and now here come the police trying to stop your boy because he was doing some dumb shit. But because he has never been forced to be able to have to listen, never been forced to be chastised or corrected or have to be told anything, he go put that chest out. I know my rights. Or he go cuss the cop out, talk that shit with nothing in the back of his mind saying, I better not do this because this is already going to be bad for me, but it's going to get 10 to 100 to 1,000 times worse if I act like a fucking complete jackass out here. But something in them just make them go to Stupidville and they can't help it, right? So they start wilding out, end up dead, right? Dead because they couldn't obey simple instructions. Put your hands up. Man, why? Man, why? And they want to go back and forth because why did they do that as adults? Because when they were children, you, the fucking parents that failed them, allowed them to do that with you. You allowed them to do it with you. So they tried to take the same things you taught them and allowed out into the world, and it gets them killed. It gets them seriously harmed out there in the world, trying to apply what they learned in your house out in the world. You are setting them up for failure. Let's keep it moving. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 14. Where no counsel is, the people fall. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Let's read this again another way. Where there is a child that has no counsel, where they're not being taught and told any better, where they're not being given any correction, no sound advice for life, the children fall. The lack of counsel, the lack of teaching, the lack of a proper upbringing and upbriding leads the children to fall. But in the multitude of counselors, hey, two parents on the same page, or parents and aunts and uncles and grandma and so forth, people around them in the family that are their elders, that hold them accountable, that discipline and chastise, make them understand correction and discipline and the art of shutting the fuck up and chilling the fuck out. The multitude of counselors, there is safety. They'll be better people in their life. They'll be more likely and more better prepared to survive the different things that come at them in life, in the real world. Your household is their training ground for the world. What are you training them for? How are you preparing them to encounter and interact with the world that they go out into? Are you doing your job? If you are not, everything that happens to them, by them, is your fault. You are responsible. People are a product of their upbringing, of their environment. We like to say, well, oh, that's so-and-so was an adult, you know, they should have just did blah, blah, blah. No, you become what you were trained to be. You program a person early. You put the programming in them early, and then they become who they're going to be, and they carry that out into life. Why do you think our enemies force us to send our children into their school system up until they're 17? Because they know that's the vital time period to start indoctrinating them, start preparing them to be the kind of people they want them to be when they go out into the society. They know this, and you should know this as well. Otherwise, you fail your child. Let's keep it moving. Proverbs chapter 13. Verse 1. A wise son heareth his father's instruction, but a scorner heareth not rebuke. A wise son is normally the one who spent his younger years getting chastised, getting disciplined, getting corrected, right? So he's used to being corrected. He's used to being chastised. He's used to hearing discipline. So he's more likely to listen to his father's instruction because he has a healthy fear of his father's discipline and correction. So he's more likely to listen to his father's instruction. But a scorner heareth not rebuke. Oh, your child will be a scorner if you condition them to have no chastisement, no discipline, no correction, no instruction when they're younger. And then you want to become a parent in their later years. They're going to be a scorner that will not hear rebuke. They're not going to hear it. Ain't going to be shit that you can tell them. They won't listen. And it will be your fault. Let's get verse 18. Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuseth instruction. What? Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuseth instruction. Look in our communities. Poverty and shame all over, right? A bunch of running loose, running wild ass children that were the result of single mother households, right? Because it's the father that disciplines the children. It's the father that guides the children, that makes them what I want to say, that teaches them to be in line and in order, right? Children that lack fathers and fathers that are disciplinarians who chastise and love, those children are more likely, you know, if they what's the word? If they were missing that, they're more likely to be exactly what you see, right? Prison filler, mortuary filler, right? Cemetery filler, right? That's what you're getting your children ready for when you don't be a worthy parent, when you don't chastise, when you don't discipline, when you don't provide instruction and structure, right? You're getting them ready for the cemetery and for prison. You're getting them ready for poverty and shame. But he that regardeth reproof shall be honored. See, a child that is used to being trained up properly in the way will regard reproof and correction. And trust me, when they become adults, they will appreciate it. I ain't talking about, you know, if you're a person that just beats your children and that's all you do is beat your children. No, I'm talking about those of you that, you know, discipline and love, right? You're even-handed, you're fair, and you're an all-around parent. You love them, you guide them, you teach them, you do for them, and you discipline. So you just can't be doing nothing for them, but all you want to do is discipline. Oh, they ain't go honor that, but they will honor the parent that they see loves them, that protects them, that provides for them, that shows them the love. But when they mess up, you correct them. They'll respect that. They'll regard your correction. They will. But if you withhold it, they'll never regard reproof, not from you or anyone else. And they're going to be doomed in this world. I can't wait for your little Israelite babies, your little Israelite boys and girls to come out into the world and got a fucking attitude problem. They can't wait for your little Israelite children to come out there into the world and can't sit the fuck down, can't shut the fuck up, can't follow instructions, can't follow orders, have no obedience training. They can't wait. You're doing the work of the enemy. That's why you think they try to make it illegal for you to whip your kids. Because they don't want your children to learn discipline and learn how to be good kids. They want them to fucking run wild so that they can get them. They want them to run all over you, because if they run all over you, they're going to come out into the world and try to do the exact same thing, and that world's going to spank them. Those same people who told you you couldn't spank your child, oh, they're going to kill your child. Oh, they're going to kill him quick, fast, in a hurry and say, well, he disrespected me. He disobeyed my order. See, they don't want you to whip your child when they disobey you in the house, but the same ones will kill your children and will be found justified in killing them. Don't let this law, these people prevent you from properly raising your kids, properly chastising your children. Don't let them scare you out of correcting your children. You better be more scared of the Most High and more scared of how your children will turn out if you allow them to go out into this world and encounter their enemies with no sense of discipline. Be more scared of that. Staying in chapter 13, let's go down to verse 24. He that spareth his rod hateth his son. Again, he that spareth his rod hateth his son. If you don't chastise your children, you hate them. That means you don't care how they turn out. You don't care what happens to them. You don't care what kind of people they're going to be. You hate them if you refuse to chastise them. You want them to be wicked. You want them to be constant fuck-ups in life that cannot be changed. That's what you want. But he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes, meaning speedily, often, right? Early and often. That's what you got to do. You love them, chastise them early and often. That's how you show that you love them. How do you judge a job well done? By the adults they turn out to be. You will know whether or not you did a good job. Moving on, Proverbs chapter 15. Let us get verse 10. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. What? Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way. People who don't care about their lives, don't care about the way of life, correction is grievous to them. They're going to buck. That's all they're going to know is to buck authority of every kind. He that hateth reproof shall die. That's the Most High saying, he that hate reproof shall die. I gave you the example of your children, sending your children out into the world, and they've never been forced by you to be disciplined or to obey, to do what they're told, to listen, to follow instructions. They have no ability to control their emotions, to keep their attitudes, their emotions in check. They have no filter in place. They never built one that helps them decide how to act in every given situation. They're going to act the same way in every situation, like a spoiled fucking child who's used to doing whatever the fuck they want to do. They're going to act like that in every situation. Now ask yourselves, if you have children like that and they go out into the world, are they prepared for success or for failure? Are they most likely to succeed or to fail? Are they most likely to live a long life, or are they more likely to die? Are they more likely to enjoy freedom and prosperity, or poverty, shame, and imprisonment? How are you preparing your children? What are you getting them ready for? Let's get verse 12. A scorner loveth not one that reproveth him. Let's get that again. A scorner loveth not one that reproveth him, neither will he go unto the wise. Right? They're going to stay away. Scorners, children who never had to be accountable, be chastised, or learn discipline, they're going to stray away from anyone that might try to tell them the right way to do things. Anybody that might try to give them some good advice, give them some great instruction in life, try to correct them when they're on the wrong path. They will hate anyone of the like. Neither will he go into the wise. They're going to stay away from wise people. They're going to stay away from people that are contrary to themselves, because those people will make them feel bad about who they are. They're going to want to migrate to people who are like them, people who are lawless, people who are without discipline, without instruction, who have no self-control. They're going to migrate to people like that. That's how they're going to stray far from you. They're going to be fit for nothing but prison or death. They're going to surround themselves with people that are just like them, that will allow them, that will be basically an echo chamber and basically allow them to think, feel, and believe that who they are is good enough, that they don't need to change. They don't need to try to correct anything. It's everybody else that's tripping. It ain't you. It ain't you. That's not the wise. That's the advice of a dumbass. They'll never go to the wise, because the wise will tell them shit like, you fucking up, so-and-so. You need to get your shit together. You need to get a job. You need to leave the drugs alone. You need to stop stealing and thieving and robbing and burglarizing. And you need to stop that shit. They got a cold cell for you to sit in for the rest of your fucking life if you want to keep being a fucking dumbass. Oh, they don't want to hear nobody talking shit like that. That's the real love. But they go flee from the love and clinging to the people that don't love them, the people that tell them all the wrong shit, because you didn't do it when they were children. So they think love is people who are enablers. See, because they thought they learned that from you early on. They take what you give them when they're young and they go out into the world with that shit. What are you sending them out with? Proverbs 15:20. A wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish man despiseth his mother. A wise son maketh a glad father. How does a son become wise? When you train him up properly from a child. How does one become a foolish man? When you did not train them up from a child. And why does it say, but a foolish man despiseth his mother? Why does it say that? Because if there's a man around, if dad is around, most likely he's going to be trained and disciplined and brought up properly. But mom has no sense of discipline. Mom can't really discipline the boy. They don't really, right? He's gonna despise his mother when he get older. That's what's gonna happen. She thinks her son is gonna love her to death because she allowed him to do whatever he wanted to do. No. That's not how it's gonna work. Mothers really trick themselves into believing that kind of shit incorrectly. They trick themselves into believing that not disciplining their children up, being enablers of bad behavior, condoning all their fuckery and bullshit is going to make them closer with their children, more beloved of their children. It's not true. Your undisciplined little boy is going to become a foolish man that despises you, YAHAWAH. Let's get verse 31. The ear that heareth the reproof of life abideth among the wise. Sounds like common sense, right? The ear that heareth the reproof of life abideth among the wise. Those that listen to correction, that listen to the correction of life, who listen to people giving them wise words and gems that allow them to navigate the shark-filled waters that is life. They're gonna cause them to abide among the wise. They will navigate. They will be drawn to people who are wise because they want what's best for them. They know the people that are telling them that are giving them the reproof of life actually care about them. When they've been used to hearing the reproof and they know you're giving them the reproof of life, meaning you're giving them correction that's great for their lives, that leads into life and blessings, rewards, and prosperity, they're more likely to abide among those same people. They would rather be around those people. They're going to gravitate to those type of people, to that type of people, right? Verse 32, he that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul. Somebody who hates instruction, who refuses instruction, they hate themselves. If you see somebody and you see that they can't be told shit, stay the fuck away from them. If they hate themselves, how can they love you? How can they love you when they hate themselves? He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul. See, and this is what they don't understand when they become dumbass adults that never had instruction when they were younger. They don't understand that refusing instruction is only hurtful to yourself. It's hurtful to yourself. You gotta hate yourself if you have a habit of refusing instruction. But he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. That's a gem. That's what you want. You want to be a person who's able to get understanding. So you need to be somebody that's able to hear reproof. How do you become an adult that's able to hear reproof? You needed to be taught when you were young. You needed to be reproved when you were young. You needed to be chastised and disciplined when you were young. It needed to be something you learned early that wasn't going to kill you. Learn that somebody verbally putting you in your place ain't the worst thing that can happen. You ain't going to die from it. How we get all these emotional ass little boys out here who want to shoot them up, bang, bang all the time. They grew up with their mothers. They adopted their mother's emotional stability. Women hate reproof. So you get boys out here going to men that hate reproof. Somebody say something to them they don't like, they respond like a fucking woman. That's what they do. That's the problem out here right now. You got a lot of little boys who were raised by women who are little carbon copies of these women. If a little Israelite boy goes out into the world with the emotional stability and temperament of A woman, oh, there's nothing good that can happen for him in the world. Nothing good that can come of that. Dead man walking. And the Most High can't use you. He got nothing for you but the rod of correction. Because if your parents ain't gonna correct you, oh, the Most High is gonna whip out that rod of correction. See, he's the one that's gonna activate the sword, which is the enemy. He's gonna raise up that sword against your child and cause him to cut your child down. Then you're gonna be on TV talking about Black Lives Matter. Why you do that to my baby? But he didn't even do nothing. All your fault, lady. Shut the fuck up. It's your fault. You did it. Women hate accountability, so they raise children. They raise their children with no accountability because they don't want to feel like hypocrites. They don't want to, you know what I'm saying, hold their kids accountable because they hate to be held accountable. So they do unto their children as they want the world to do unto them. Please, I don't like nobody telling me nothing, so I ain't gonna tell my children nothing. I like to just do my thing and do whatever the fuck I want to do. So I'm gonna let my child do whatever the fuck he want to do. I'm gonna raise my kids the way I want to be treated. See, fathers don't do that. Fathers don't normally do that. See, your dad can be fucking up. He can be a fuck up. You feel me? But he ain't go condone and try to raise his kid to be the same fuck up that he was. He ain't gonna sit around and not discipline the kid because he don't want nobody to ever discipline him. He ain't gonna sit around and just let his kid, you know what I'm saying, talk to him any old kind of way because he don't want nobody to talk to him like that. So I ain't gonna talk to my son like that because I don't want nobody to talk to me like that. That's some super feminine shit. This is the reason why women are not supposed to lead households. They're not supposed to be the primary raisers of the children. They're supposed to be the nurturers, but they're not supposed to be the primary teachers and disciplinarians. Women know nothing about it. Children do not respect the mothers. They love mothers. Respect and love are two different things. Fathers get respect. Mothers get love. That's the difference. And the true form of love is respect. So if you're not getting respect, you're not really getting love. Swallow that. Proverbs 17:2. A wise servant shall have rule over a son that causeth shame, and shall have part of the inheritance among the brethren. Listen, look at the Most High saying, a wise servant. So he's saying you got servants and then you got the children, right? Most High saying the wise servant, he'll give the wise servant rule over his son if his son causes shame. This ain't even my child over here, but I'm gonna raise you up to rule over my own son because my son causes shame. He causes me shame. You want to be smarter than my son? All right, I'll give you preferential treatment. I'll place you above him. A wise servant shall have rule over a son that causeth shame, and shall have part of the inheritance among the brethren. Better it is to be a wise servant than a shameful son. That's the Most High speaking. We are getting our children ready for what's to come, right? Look how he feels about undisciplined children who won't listen. Children, sons and daughters that cause shame. He will put your enemies, he will put servants above you rather than give you blessings. That's major. That says a lot. And it makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. Let's get verse 10. A reproof entereth more into a wise man than 100 stripes into a fool. See, a wise man, he became a wise man because, he was a child who got instruction, who got reproof, who got chastisement and discipline. So that training turned him into a wise man. So now as a wise man, when he errs and someone comes and checks him or teaches him or corrects him, that reproof will enter into him. He'll take it into account. He'll listen to it. He'll filter it. He'll do something with it because he knows the benefits. He can understand the process of chastisement and correction and benefiting from it. It will enter more into him than 100 stripes into a fool, meaning a fool will get their asses kicked 100 times and won't learn shit. A fool can experience the same adversity 100 times and won't learn a motherfucking thing. Nothing. None of the stripes, none of the punishments will have any effect. It won't convert him. It won't change him because he's a fucking fool. He can't be changed now because he is who he's going to be. He is set in his ways. He is past the point of molding. You got to get him early or you'll never be able to tell them a damn thing later on. They're going to spend their lives getting beaten down in life and never learning, never overcoming, never changing their bad habits, never learning to adjust to what they're doing wrong. They'll never learn to get it right. Never. They'll never get it right because they'll never get the lesson. They'll never get the lesson in the punishment. All right, let us keep going. Let us get verse 15. He that justifieth the wicked and he that condemneth the just, even they both are abomination to the Lord. Listen, if you're somebody that make excuse for wickedness, if you're a parent that make excuses for your wicked ass child, you make excuses for your bad ass kid, you're an abomination to the Lord. Just like somebody that condemneth the just, meaning you're the other kind of bad parent that you chastise the child that ain't even fucking up. You punishing the child that's doing all the right shit. See, this is to the parents. This ain't about the children. This is about parents now. This is about different types of parents. The parents who condone bad behavior and wickedness in their children. And then the other kind of bad parents who don't reward their children for doing great. Good children, good people. They're a good person, hardworking, obedient in the house. Go outside and, they don't embarrass you outside. They don't get in any trouble. They go to school, get excellent grades, yet you treat them like they're a wicked child. They get the rod of correction and it wasn't even necessary. You parents that do these things, you are an abomination to Yahweh. (17 and 21). He that begetteth a fool doeth it to his sorrow, and the father of a fool hath no joy. No joy. He that begetteth a fool doeth it to his sorrow. He who trains up a fool, you're doing it to your own sorrow. The father of a fool hath no joy. You won't be able to enjoy your children. They're going to be the type of people you don't like, you can't stand. They're an annoyance. They're a detriment to your life. They're costly to you. You gotta, you go in your pocket for bail all the time, and you're always having to take off from work to go up to the school because they keep fucking up. They're getting in trouble out there all the damn time. There's no joy that comes from badass fucking kids, from fools. There's no joy. You don't get the reward of a job well done because you didn't do a great job. So you get what you deserve. You get out what you put in. Verse 25, a foolish son is a grief to his father, and bitterness to her that bear him. A foolish son is a grief to his father, and a bitterness to her that bear him. Because as bad as a foolish son or daughter is to the father, even worse for the mother. Because the mother is going to get whatever bullshit dad gets, the mother is going to get it worse. But it makes sense, right? Because the weakest is going to get the most bullshit, right? The most bullshit. See, you can give dad a certain level of bullshit, but see, you got to worry about, dad might fuck you up. See, dad's still a man. Dad still might fuck you up. Mom's soft. You can just run mom all the way the fuck over, right? So her bitterness is way worse than the grief that dad gets, which is the results of the fucked up parenting, either by one or both of you. All right, let's keep walking. Staying in Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 19, verse 8. He that getteth wisdom loveth his own soul. He that keepeth understanding shall find good. One more time. He that getteth wisdom loveth his own soul. But he that keepeth understanding shall find good. Verse 13. A foolish son is the calamity of his father, and the contentions of a wife are a continual dropping. What? Boy. Verse 18. I'm gonna start breezing through this a little faster because, like I said, you guys got it now. I don't got to do as much commentary. So now I want to do more just reading the scripture and moving, reading the verse and moving. I just want to highlight it and keep it moving for you, okay? We've done enough breaking down and going through stuff. Now all of that should be set in. And so we're going to do more breezing through, okay? Verse 18. I'm sorry, did I get verse 13 already? Yes, I did. So verse 18. Chasten thy son while there is hope, and let not thy soul spare for his crying. When is there hope? When they're younger. You got to chasten them. You got to chasten them while they're young. And don't let your soul spare for his crying. Don't get soft-hearted because they're crying. You got to whip that ass. You got to discipline them. You got to stick with it, right? You can't go soft because of that crying, because of those tears, all right? Verse, a man of great wrath shall suffer punishment, for if thou deliver him, yet thou must do it again. Listen, a man of great wrath shall suffer punishment, for if thou deliver him, yet thou must do it again. Now we're going to apply this to your children. A badass kid must suffer punishment because if you deliver him, meaning you give him a break, you let him off that punishment early, you don't punish him at all, you don't discipline him at all, you're going to have to do it again because they're not going to learn anything. You didn't teach them. They didn't learn anything. You didn't correct them. You let them off the hook. You let them off the hook. That's why a badass kid must suffer punishment. Otherwise, if you deliver him, if you give him a break, if you take it easy, you're going to have to discipline them again. You're going to have to chastise them again because they're not going to learn because you didn't drop the hammer. Hear counsel, verse 20. Hear counsel and receive instruction that thou mayest be wise in thy latter end. What? Hear counsel and receive instruction that thou mayest be wise in thy latter end. That's what it's all about. Hearing counsel, receiving instruction when you're young so that you can be wise when you're older. Okay, let's get verse 26. He that wasteth his father and chaseth away his mother is a son that causeth shame and bringeth reproach. All right, verse 27. Cease, my son, to hear the instruction that causeth to err from the words of knowledge. My son, stop listening to people giving you bad advice. Period. Proverbs chapter 20. Let's get verse 11. Even a child is known by his doings, whether his work be pure and whether it be right. A good child or a bad child is known by their fruit. They're known by their doings. You'll know if you have a good child or a badass child. Watch what they do. Whether his work be pure or whether it be right. Watch them. You'll know if they need correction or any discipline. Watch them. Pay attention to your children. Raise your children. Don't just maintain your children. Okay. Verse 20. Whoso curseth his father or his mother, his lamp shall be put out in obscure darkness. The Most High is going to make you a dumb motherfucker if you curse your father and mother, because if you can't respect your earthly mother and father, you ain't going to respect him. This is the training ground. They got to learn to respect you and honor you. Otherwise, how are they going to respect and honor him who they cannot see? If they cannot and will not honor you, who they can see and touch, you're setting them up for failure. If you let them get to the point where they curse you, where they become a curse to you, where they become a dread to you, the Most High will put their lamps out. He will put them in utter darkness. They will become, like I said before, cemetery fodder and prison filler. Can you dig it? Hope you guys are out there saying, fuck that. Where's my belt? Let me start correcting it right now. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 11. When the scorner is punished, the simple is made wise. And when the wise is instructed, he receiveth knowledge. Right? That's self-evident. I ain't gonna linger there. Let's keep going. All right. Because I got a lot of this to get through, and I don't want to make this even longer than it has to be. So I'm not gonna go and try to break down everything. Otherwise, this video can be long as shit. And it's already long. It just don't need to be long as shit. Okay. So Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Do you guys think this is true or not? I mean, you know it's true because of where it comes from, right? But you can see that it's true based off of your own life experiences. And I've been talking about it the whole time. When you train a child up in the way they should go from when they're small, when they get older, become adults, it's going to be ingrained in them. It's going to be part of who they are. They're going to carry it with them through the rest of their lives. But when you don't train them up in the way they should go, then they're not going to have any form of structure to lean on when life happens. Let's get verse 15. Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. Because the children, they have to be taught. So when they're young, foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, because children learn through experience. Trying and doing. Don't touch that stove, it's hot. Touch the stove anyway. Hot, down they burned. They never touch the stove again. Experience is the best teacher. But when that foolishness that is in their heart, when it's manifested and it comes out, you got to bring out that rod of correction to drive it far from them. All right, keeping it moving. Verse 17, bow down thine ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply thine heart unto my knowledge. All right, so this is for you parents. Listen, bow down your ear, hear the words of the wise King Solomon, and apply thine heart unto everything that you're hearing, unto his knowledge. Take this stuff, take these gems, and go be a better parent with it. All right? Moving on, Proverbs chapter 23, verse 12. Apply thine heart unto instruction, and thine ears to the words of knowledge. All right? For you parents. And see, you started by leading by example. When you do this, see, you'll see the benefits and you'll instill it in your children. That's what it's about. You do this first for you. And then when you do that, you'll naturally impart this to your children. Right? Withhold not correction from the child. Don't let them do whatever the fuck they want to do. For if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. No, he will be corrected. He will be corrected. Don't turn your child into a fucking punching bag. Righteously correct them with the rod. There's a way to do it, to teach them and to not just harm them. All right? A little hurt, don't hurt. Don't kill your children, people. All of this should be with love. There should be a spirit of love that guides you through this, not rage nor wrath. You should never discipline your children in wrath or rage. Let yourself calm down. If you ever get too hot, right? If your rage waxes hot, calm down before you go into the disciplinary phase, okay? Because you want to teach them with the discipline. They don't learn anything if you just hurt them and just go full scale animal on them. They don't learn anything. Not what you want them to learn. That's not what they're going to learn. All right. Okay. So let's get verse 22. Well, no, verse 14. I'm sorry. Thou shalt beat him with the rod and shalt deliver his soul from hell. Hell is a condition, not a place. You correct your child, you discipline them properly, you make them better people. So they end up in a better place in life. They end up having a better outcome in life because of that structure that you gave them. Right? Right. Now let's get verse 22. Hearken unto thy father that begat thee, and despise not thy mother when she is old. Right? You got to instill this into your children. They'll learn this, to do this, by what you teach them, by how you train them up. Right? Let's get verse 24. The father of the righteous shall greatly rejoice, and he that begetteth the wise child shall have joy of him. Thy father and thy mother shall be glad, and she that bare thee shall rejoice. For a whore is a deep ditch, and a strange woman is a narrow pit. She also lieth in wait as for a prey, and increaseth the transgressors among men. This is just great words of the wise from our brethren out there. I wanted to get this for you guys, man, because it's going to help you be better people, help you be stronger men. All right, stronger men are stronger fathers. You know what I'm saying? So I just threw these in here, a little extra for you guys, man, just to make sure that you also are becoming the right kind of people. Because I figure while I'm here, I might as well read it because there's some gems right here. All right. So that was for you. All right. A little extra. Let's get the next chapter, Proverbs chapter 24, verse 3. Through wisdom is a house builded, and by understanding is it established. Your house is built through wisdom, and through understanding it is established. A man with no wisdom and no understanding, you can't build a house. You can't establish your house. You gotta get these things built, get these things in yourself, right? Get yourself wisdom and some understanding so that you can properly build your house. And that's what we're doing. We're feeding you, we're building you up in wisdom and understanding so that you can build and establish your house. Okay? You know, women won't let you lead. They ain't go take your word for it. They ain't go, follow your lead if she knows that you have no wisdom and no understanding. Get yourself wisdom and understanding, and your woman will be more likely to allow you to lead and be the man and father that you want to be and need to be. Okay? In verse 4, and by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. By knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Get you some. These are the fruit of the Spirit. Get you some. Okay? And again, just because I'm here, throw this in for free. A wise man is strong. Yea, a man of knowledge increaseth in strength. Increaseth strength. All right? Even your strength as a father is increased through your knowledge. You're made wise through knowledge. Get yourself some knowledge. be a studier, be a student. And as you become a wise man, become stronger in your wisdom, and you increase strength through your knowledge, you become a better leader of your household. Your woman will see it. The mother of your children will see it. And she'll allow you to do what you got to do. She'll follow your lead, right? You got to get these things, though. This is how the Most High is going to pave the way for you to be able to get control over your household. If you have not wisdom, knowledge, or understanding, he ain't going to let you have control over your household. He's going to allow that woman to continue to run all over you because you deserve to have her run all over you because you ain't sought him out for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You haven't been increased in the things you need to be increased in order to become a worthy father. You don't deserve to lead. You don't deserve to say shit. Get yourself together, and the Most High will work out everything else in your favor. Okay? Let's get verse 11. If thou forbear to deliver them that are drawn unto death, and those that are ready to be slain, if thou sayest, behold, we knew it not, doth not he that pondereth the heart consider it? And he that keepeth thy soul, doth not he know it? And shall not he render to every man according to his works? If you condone and you allow, right? You enable the bullshit, right? The Most High will consider it. He will consider it, and he'll render to every man according to his works. So what's that saying in applicable terms to what we're talking about? If you're not a good parent, if you're not the right type of father or the right type of mother, the Most High knows it. He knows it. And he's going to give you the type of children that's going to give you heartache and pain. You're going to get the result of your work. He's going to make sure of it. He's going to make sure that they're hardened, they're stubborn, they're ignorant, they're selfish. They're going to be all those things that they should be because of the type of parents that they had. He's going to make sure he gives every man according to his works. The Most High ponders the heart, and he considers it all. He considers it all. If thou forbear to deliver them that are drawn unto death, your children are drawn unto death. If you don't step in and be a parent and guide them right and teach them right, they're ready to be slain. You're preparing them to be slain. They're fit for slaughter if you don't guide them correctly. And if you allow that to happen, if you don't do what you need to do early on to get them to be the right kind of people that go in the way of life, you groom them to be those that are drawn unto death, those that are fit for slaughter and to be slain, the Most High will render to you according to your works. You will get the outcome that you deserve. Children that are killed early, you will have to suffer the loss of children. Children that go to prison and, that are just a life sore, a life drain. That's what your results are going to be. Okay, let's get verse 23. These things also belong to the wise. It is not good to have respect of persons in judgment. Here, we're going to apply this to your children. It is not good to say, oh, that's my child. I shouldn't punish my child. I shouldn't chastise my child. I shouldn't discipline my child. And some people out there like that who are just so staunchly against discipline. No, not for everybody else. It's for their children. They don't want to discipline their own children. They don't think they should be disciplined, no matter how bad they are. They'll make excuses for them. They'll find a way to justify their bad behavior. So they don't give their children a proper judgment that's needed based off of their activity. Okay, let's get the next chapter. Proverbs chapter 25. Let's get verse 28. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. No defense. No defense for what comes at him. You had no rule over your spirit. You're you have no defense against the things that come at you, against the attacks and all the obstacles of the world. And you know who has no rule over their own spirit? An adult that was never forced to learn how when they were a child. You learned, you develop rule over your own spirit when you're a child that gets discipline, correction, chastisement. That's how it happens. Continuing on. Proverbs chapter 26, verse 3. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the ass, and a rod for the fool's back. Did the Most High say to let the child do whatever the fuck they want to run over you? No, he said a rod for the fool's back. That's the Most High. Fuck what your women talking about. Break that rod out. Discipline your child. Correct them when they're fucking up. Not just because you're having a bad day, not because you're mad. No, when they're going out of the way. Break that rod out. If you love them, break that rod out. Verse 11. As a dog returneth to his vomit, so a fool returneth to his folly. A fool will continue to return to the same bullshit over and over and over again like a dumb fucking animal. How do they get this way? It started as a child. Get your children in order. Do not let them become the fools, become foolish adults that return to their own folly over and over and over again. Unable to learn. They never learn. They never adjust. They repeat the same fuck-ups, the same mistakes over and over again. Verse 12, seest thou a man wise in his own conceit? There is more hope of a fool than of him. Somebody who's constantly justifying their own bullshit. You know what I mean? They're wise in their own bullshit. You know, you see a man that's wise in his own bullshit, in his own fuckery and foolery. There's more hope of a fool than of him. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 22. Though thou shouldest bray a fool in a mortar among wheat with a pestle, yet will not his foolishness depart from him. No. Once a person gets to the point where they've just been allowed to descend further and further and further into their bullshit, never having been given structure, discipline, or chastisement or instruction, they're going to get to a point that is past the point of no, they're going to get past the point of no return. Damn. All right, got it out. They're going to get past the point of no return. They're never going to be able to be changed. They're never going to be able to be corrected. They will never turn from that way in which they're in. They'll continue to make the same mistakes. Their foolishness will never depart from them. It's going to be too late. You got to get them early. Now is the time. This is the training period when they are children. Do not wait until it's too late. You have a job to do. You have a responsibility to be their parents, not their friends. You got to get them ready for the kingdom. The Most High will not spare. He will spare not. He will spare not. And boy, when he breaks out the rod of correction, that might come in the form of death by cop, death by gang members, drive-by shooting, right? All sorts of ways. All sorts of ways when the Most High breaks out that rod. Better you use yours than the Most High use his. Spare not. All right? Moving on. Proverbs chapter 28. Let's get verse 5. Evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord understand all things. Evil men became evil men because they were wicked children that were never corrected. They were never given any punishment, instruction, or correction. So they don't understand. They don't understand. So they don't understand judgment. It doesn't make sense to them. It's not It's not something that computes for them. They don't learn from judgment. It never registers to them. It's not something that they process. And now they're evil. Now they're set in their ways. And now it doesn't matter what you do. Now, see, they don't understand judgment because now they think that, you're tripping. The system is tripping because they had to be judged. They don't even think they deserve what they got. They don't, they think they should have been able to just do whatever dumb shit that they did and not received any punishment. They don't understand judgment. But they that seek the Lord understand all things. Do you seek him? If you seek him, you should understand all things, which means you should understand these things which are hearing from you right now. So discipline and correction should make sense to you. It shouldn't be something that's taboo. Get out of your soft spirit. Because the Most High does not have a soft spirit. He will deal with them if you do not. You better believe it. Verse 21. To have respect of persons is not good. Remember, we heard that before. Here it is again. Repetition is key to learning. For a piece of bread, that man will transgress. See, meaning if there's a benefit, if somebody can be given a benefit to allowing wickedness or allowing bad behavior, they'll allow it. They'll allow it. You're to be no respecter of persons. Don't allow yourself to find any gain, to be given any gain or reward for rewarding and allowing and condoning bad behavior. Verse 26. He that trusteth in his own heart is a fool, but whoso walketh wisely, he shall be delivered. See, he that trusteth in his own heart, meaning those who just do whatever their heart desires. They're just free-spirited. They just, from here to there, they do whatever their heart tells them. They just go wherever they want. They do whatever, and they feel like it's okay. They don't filter life. They don't go through the process of, should I do this? Should I not? What are the repercussions for doing this? What's the worst that can happen? See, they trust in their own heart. Just do the shit. Whatever it is, whatever emotion, whatever feeling they have, whatever thought that they have, they just run with it. But whoso walketh wisely, meaning they have a filter. They process things. They think about those things. They consider everything diligently. What can happen as a result of doing this? Should I do this? Should I not? What's to be gained? What can I lose? That's walking wisely. That person shall be delivered because they're more likely to make a good decision, to make the right decision. Okay. Let's get next. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 1. He that being often reproved hardeneth his neck shall suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy. Those people who, because this is talking about those who didn't get reproved when they were young. They weren't trained up properly. So now they become adults. They become older people now that because they never got reproved when they were young, they got to get reproved often now because they're constantly fucking up. Constantly. They're constantly fucking up. And so they got to be reproved often. And every time they get reproved and they harden their neck, they get worse. And eventually they will be destroyed. The Most High said they will suddenly be destroyed. And that without remedy. Ooh, without remedy. No fixing it, no changing it. Nothing that can be done to help it, to stop it, to reverse it. Right? When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Whoso loveth wisdom rejoiceth his father, but he that keepeth company with harlots spendeth his substance. Whoso loveth wisdom rejoiceth his father, but he that keepeth company with harlots spendeth his substance. Verse 9. I'm trying to move a little faster because I keep realizing I keep doing exactly what I said I didn't want to do. I'm going way over this time. So trying to speed up, you guys. Verse 9. If a wise man contendeth with a foolish man, whether he rage or laugh, there is no rest. And as a parent, when you withhold the discipline from your boy, your daughter, he will become a foolish man. She will become a foolish woman, right? And at that point, because you want to do something, but whether you rage or you just laugh at it, there is no rest. There is no rest. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, because you fucked up. You waited too long. Now you have no rest. You got nothing but bullshit. You got nothing but headaches and heartache. That's your reward. That's your reward. We are to look to the Most High. He is our example. It's our Father in heaven. He is our example. He disciplines. He corrects. He chastises us. If you don't chastise your own, you don't love them. He loves us. That's why he chastises us. You better follow his lead and do what he told you to do. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 15. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother shame. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself, meaning not disciplined, not corrected, bringeth his mother to shame. I'm not going to stay there for too long. Moving on. Verse 17. Correct thy son, and he shall give thee rest. Yea, he shall give delight to thy soul. Right? Correct them. And when they're older, they'll give you rest. They'll take care of your good children. They'll take care of you. They'll make your latter years restful and easier and more joyous and pleasurable. But you'll get nothing but, again, heartache and headaches from those children that become the wicked children, badass children that become fucked up adults. All right, let's get verse 23. Verse 23. A man's pride shall bring him low, but honor shall uphold the humble in spirit. Teach your boys and your daughters teach them children when they're young. See, we're going to apply these gems to your children. See, teach them how to check their pride, because pride will bring you low. Teach them to be honorable, because the honor shall uphold the humble in spirit. Teach them to be humble in spirit. Teach them to be honorable in actions, in deeds, and in words, and in speaking, and in their heart. Remove their pride from them. Teach them the folly of pride, because you see what pride does. A prideful child will be a prideful adult, right? And you know that's what comes before the fall. A fall is soon to follow. Don't let them be turned into the type of people that's destined to fall. Right? Proverbs chapter 30, verse 11. There is a generation that curseth their father and doth not bless their mother. There is a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness. There is a generation, oh, how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. There is a generation whose teeth are as swords, and their jaw teeth as knives, to devour the poor off the earth and the needy from among men. See, you can take this. This isn't about children in its entirety, but this is another one of those times where you can use these words of wisdom to apply them to your children, to apply them to you as a parent, right? Take the gems that come from them and understand what's being sold. There is a generation that curseth their father and does not bless their mother. We know this. How do they get like that? From their raising. There is a generation that are pure in their own eyes, prideful, and yet is not washed from their filthiness, so they get brought low. There is a generation, oh, how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up, rolling their eyes, can't be told shit, don't want to hear shit. You don't know shit. You too stupid. You old. No respect for the parents. That happens when you allow it. That happens when you don't correct them early. You don't instill in them what you need to put in them early. This will be their fate. This is what they're going to turn out like when they get older. Okay, so we're going to take those gems. We're going to apply it like that. All right. Let us get verse 15. The horse leech hath 2 daughters, crying, give, give. There are 3 things that are never satisfied. Yea, 4 things say not, it is enough. The grave and the barren womb, the earth that is not filled with water, and the fire that saith not, it is enough. The eye that mocketh at his father and despiseth to obey his mother. The ravens of the valley shall pick it out, and the young eagles shall eat it. Ouch. Ouch. You want that to be the end result for your children? You want that to be their destiny, what they have waiting for them at the end of the line, when the Most High decides it's over for them, and he requires judgment. All right, jumping out of Proverbs, and we're going to get Ecclesiasticus again. Chapter 3, verse 1. Ecclesiasticus, chapter 3, verse 1. Hear me, your father, O children, and do thereafter, that ye may be safe. For the Lord hath given the father honor over the children, and hath confirmed the authority of the mother over the sons. Whoso honoreth his father maketh an atonement for his sins. And he that honoreth his mother is as one that layeth up treasure. Whoso honoreth his father shall have joy of his own children. And when he maketh his prayer, he shall be heard. He that honoreth his father shall have a long life, and he that is obedient unto the Lord shall be a comfort to his mother. He that feareth the Lord will honor his father, and will do service unto his parents, as to his masters. Honor thy father and mother, both in word and deed, that a blessing may come upon thee from them. For the blessing of the father establisheth the houses of children, but the curse of the mother rooteth out foundations. Glory not in the dishonor of thy father, for thy father's dishonor is no glory unto thee. For the glory of a man is from the honor of his father, and the mother is dishonor, and a mother in dishonor is a reproach to the children. My son, help thy father in his age, and grieve him not as long as he liveth. And if his understanding fail, have patience with him, and despise him not when thou art in thy full strength. For the relieving of thy father shall not be forgotten, and instead of sins, it shall be added to build thee up. In the day of thine affliction, it shall be remembered. Thy sins also shall melt away, as the ice in the fair warm weather. He that forsaketh his father is a blasphemer, and he that angereth his mother is cursed of the power. Bars. Soak that up, take that in. But you help your children become the type of children he talked about here when you do what you need to do when they're younger. When you understand the importance of your guidance, of your tutelage, of your instruction, of not letting them get away with shit, of not allowing them to just be to their own devices and to do whatever it is they want to do. Spare not. All right. Ecclesiasticus chapter 6, verse 32. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. All right. Get that. Write that down. All right. Ecclesiasticus chapter 7. Verse 23. Let's start there. Hast thou children? Instruct them, and bow down their neck from their youth. Hast thou daughters? Have a care of their body, and show not thyself cheerful toward them. Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding. Hast thou a wife after thy mind? Forsake her not, but give not thyself over to a light woman. Honor thy father with thy whole heart, and forget not the sorrows of thy mother. Remember that thou wast begotten of them, and how canst thou recompense them the things that they have done for thee? Good wisdom. You know, if you got teenagers, children of understanding, let them read these verses here. The last one that I hit, you know, all of these in Ecclesiastes that I've been getting, read these to them. Let them read them for themselves, because they should be working on their standing in their relationship with the Father as well. They're teenagers, right? Get them, make sure they're in this word. Make sure they're hearing these words of instruction in life, right? All right. Let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 21. We'll begin at verse 6. Well, I'm just going to get verse 6. He that hateth to be reproved is in the way of sinners. He that hates correction is in the way of sinners. But he that feareth the Lord will repent from his heart. You repent from your heart, he transforms you. He changes you. Verse 12. He that is not wise will not be taught, but there is a wisdom which multiplieth bitterness. He that is not wise will not be taught, but there is a wisdom which multiplieth bitterness. Sometimes the more wisdom you have, it causes more bitterness. You know, more headaches. It's almost like more wisdom, more problems. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the more you know, it's just like in this world, the more you know, understanding, the truths about this world, it makes you more bitter. It makes you more angry, right? Because you know the truth about so many different things. The people who are walking around ignorantly, they don't have as much bitterness as you do. But ignorance is not bliss though either. What you don't know it can hurt, it can kill, and it will. Right? All right, let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 22, verse 4. A wise daughter shall bring an inheritance to her husband, but she that liveth dishonestly is her father's heaviness. She that is bold dishonoreth both her father and her husband, but they both shall despise her. Give this to your teenage daughter. Let her read this. Help her to understand what it's saying. Remember, we're going back to the Most High's way of doing things. That get her in order. Get her in order now. Prepare her properly. All right, let's get verse 9. If children live honestly and have wherewithal, they shall cover the baseness of their parents. See, your children can even be your saving grace if you raise them right. But children being haughty through disdain and want of nurture do stain the nobility of their kindred. Through want of nurture, through lack of discipline, lack of instruction, lack of chastisement, lack of love, all of those things can cause them to stain the nobility of their kindred. They become haughty. Okay? Let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 23. Start at verse 1. O Lord, Father and Governor of all my life, leave me not to their counsels and let me not fall by them. Who will set scourges over my thoughts and the discipline of wisdom over mine heart, that they spare me not for my ignorances, and it pass not by my sins? Boy, you hear that? Like, he understands discipline, the value of discipline and correction so much. He's telling the Most High, please don't spare me from discipline. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't spare me for my ignorances. Don't say, oh, okay, he doesn't know any better. We'll let it go. No, chastise me. Chastise me, please. Let my ignorances, lest my ignorances increase and my sins abound to my destruction. Because that's what happens. When ignorances increase, your sins abound to your destruction. Don't let that happen to your children. And I fall before mine adversaries, and mine enemy rejoice over me, whose hope is far from thy mercy. O Lord, Father and power of my life, give me not a proud look, but turn away from thy servants always a haughty mind. Turn away from me vain hopes and concupiscence, and thou shalt hold him up that is desirous always to serve thee. Let not the greediness of the belly nor lust of the flesh take hold of me, and give not over me thy servant into an impudent mind. Hear, O ye children, the discipline of the mouth. He that keepeth it shall never be taken in his lips. Give this to your young adults, man. Your young children that are at the point of higher understanding. Okay? Not the babies, but your young people. All right? Let's get Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, verse 3. If thou hast gathered nothing in thy youth, how canst thou find anything in thine age? If you will learn anything in your youth, how are you going to learn anything in your older age? When you're young, that's the training ground. That's the time when the clay is being molded. It's being molded. You're being prepared. You're getting ready. You're being made ready. If you have not gathered any wisdom, any teachings, any experiences, have not been taught correction, the benefits of correction and the rewards of being corrected and then changing, you don't know them. You won't know them when you're young. How are you going to be able to find them in your age? Older people don't understand the benefit of taking reproof and then correcting themselves and changing their course, because when they were younger, they never had any practice with it. They never had to get that belt, correct themselves, and then get rewarded. See the rewards of correction. All right, let's get chapter 26, verse 10. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. Got to put reins on your little girl. Got to give her boundaries, mom. Can't let her just run out there and do whatever the fuck she want to do because you was a fast-ass little girl and wanted to be able to do whatever you want to do. So you gonna let her go out there and do as you did. You ain't gonna put restraints on your daughter because you was a little girl who didn't want restraints. So you ain't gonna put none on her. Pops, put restraints on your daughter. Do not give her over much liberty. All right? You will pay the price for that. Let's get Ecclesiasticus chapter 30. Start at verse 1. He that loveth his son causeth him often to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him in the end. That's a bar. He that loveth his son. Do you love your son? Then you will cause him to often feel the rod, to get disciplined often. God might have to whip that ass regularly so that you may have joy of him in the end. He that chastiseth his son shall have joy of him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. See, because your enemy don't want you to teach your children, don't want you to instruct them, don't want you to correct them so that they can get out there and be fucking full-fledged heathens, animals, so that they fall into their hands and they can do whatever they will with your child. And before his friends, he shall rejoice of him. Though his father die, yet he is as though he were not dead, for he hath left one behind that is like himself. While he lived, He saw and rejoiced in him. And when he died, he was not sorrowful. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends. He that maketh too much of his son shall bind up his wounds, and his bowels will be in trouble at every cry. Don't baby your children, especially your boys. You got to let life be a teacher, and you got to take those teaching moments. You got to let them experience their bumps and bruises. Don't try to go out of your way to coddle them and prevent them from being able to stumble and fall, and because you're trying to deprive them of teaching moments. You're not allowing them to make any mistakes or to do anything that's going to cause them harm or hurt, so they don't get to learn. Experience is the best teacher. Let them learn. And then you teach. When stuff happens, when they get those bumps, falls, and bruises, you teach. Don't just let them fall and do nothing. No, you teach. Use it as that's a moment for you to step in and be a parent. Okay? And horse not broken becometh headstrong, and a child left to himself will be willful. That's right. You don't get your kids early, discipline them early, instruct them early, make them understand, put that proper fear in them, right? They will be headstrong. They'll be willful. You ain't going to be able to tell them a motherfucking thing. It's going to be your fault. It's going to be all your fault when they get to that point where you can't tell them shit. You will try to become a parent later on in their life. It's going to be awful for you. Conquer thy child, and he shall make thee afraid. Play with him, and he will bring thee to heaviness. Laugh not with him, lest thou have sorrow with him, and lest thou gnash thy teeth in the end. Give him no liberty in his youth, and wink not at his folly. Meaning, don't joke about it. Don't be like, oh, that's my boy. Look at him. No, don't do that. Correct him. Show him that he fucked up. Don't laugh at it. Don't be like, that's cute, right? Don't let him think, oh yeah, he did something and you laughed, and now he feels like, oh, that was funny. Oh, I can do this, and there's nothing wrong with it. Wink not at his follies. Bow down his neck while he is young, meaning force him to respect you, force him to listen to you, force him to honor you, to obey you while he is young, and beat him on the sides while he is a child, lest he wax stubborn and be disobedient unto thee, because they will, and so bring sorrow to thine heart. You let them get away with shit, and they will become disobedient and disrespectful little fucking bastards to you. Better believe it. Chastise thy son and hold him to labor, lest his lewd behavior be an offense unto thee. Bars, gems, jewels. Pick them up. Ecclesiastes chapter 34, verse 9. A man that hath traveled knoweth many things, and he that hath much experience will declare wisdom. He that hath no experience knoweth little, but he that hath traveled is full of prudence. What do I want to get this for? Because it echoes what I was telling you about experience being the best teacher. Experience is the best teacher. You have to let your children experience some shit in order to gain wisdom. But you have to teach along the way. If you have to, create teachable moments for them. Let them do some shit. Let them try some shit. Watch them, give them instruction, but know that they're kids. They're going to fuck up. And when they do, you instruct them, you chastise them, you correct them. They will learn through their experience, right? That's what they will draw on in their later life when they're going about their regular routine or their regular living. It'll be the things that they learned through their living, through their experiences, that are going to dictate how they respond. All right? Let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 42. Let's get verse 1. Of these things be not thou ashamed, and accept no person to sin thereby, of the law of the Most High and his covenant, and of judgment to justify the ungodly, of reckoning with thy partners and travelers, or of the gift of the heritage of friends, of exactness, of balance and weights, or of getting much or little, and of merchants' indifferent selling, of much correction of children, and to make the side of an evil servant to bleed, of exactness, of balance and weights. You want to be balanced as a parent, loving and disciplining, a loving disciplinarian. Don't just be heavy-handed. Don't give much and don't give too little. Dig it? Let's get go right to Ecclesiastes chapter 18 real quick. Let's get 14, verse 14. He hath mercy on them that receive discipline and that diligently seek after his judgment. What is this? The Most High has mercy on who? Them that receive discipline. You don't give your child discipline, they never receive discipline. So what? The Most High will not have any mercy on them. You want your children to be worthy of mercy? Cause them to receive discipline. Cause them to receive discipline. And cause them to diligently seek after his judgments, which is the only way they'll do that is if they've learned when they were young the benefits of correction, chastisement and correction. You chastise them, they correct their error, and they see the benefit and the reward of correcting that error. Then they learn to diligently look for correction, chastisement, and seek after the judgments of the Most High. If they don't do it for you, they won't do it for him. You are their first step. Before they get to him, before they can learn to obey him, they have to learn to obey you. Before they can respect his judgments, they have to learn to respect yours. They will never respect his judgments if they don't respect yours. Never. That's just the way it is. Let's get Psalms. Uh, 89. Psalm 89, verse 27 through 32. Also, I will make him my firstborn higher than the kings of the earth. My mercy will I keep for him forevermore, and my covenant shall stand fast with him. His seed also will I make to endure forever, and his throne as the days of heaven. If his children forsake my law and walk not in my judgments, if they break my statutes and keep not my commandments, then will I visit their transgression with the rod, and their iniquity with stripes. That's how the Most High rolls. He believes in the rod. Oh boy, he believes in stripes, aka whippings. He believes in whipping that ass. Whipping the ass is righteous. It is of the Most High. Correcting your children is righteous. It is of the Most High. Spare not. Let's get Psalm 94 and 12. Blessed is the man whom thou chastenest, O Lord, and teachest him out of thy law. Blessed is the man whom thou chastenest. If the Most High chastens you, you are blessed. It means he loves you. He deals with you as his child. If you love your child, you better chasten them. That's how You show that you love them. You correct them. You correct them and you teach them through chastening. Chastisement is righteous. It is righteous. Biblical, right here. If you believe in the word, you better trust in the Most High. He created us, right? Who better than him knows what these creatures that we are need in order to be corrected? He does. Nobody knows better than him. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 5. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord. Despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? For verily, for they verily for a few days chastened us, for they verily for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness. Now, no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous. No, it does. It's not joyous in the moment, but grievous. It is. Nevertheless, afterward, it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Case closed. What does the Most High say? Spare not. Spare not. That concludes this message. I hope you guys were edified. It was long, but it was needed. I know it was needed. I talked to brothers out there, and I know that this was very much necessary at this moment. So take this, apply it, listen to it, study it for yourself. Get with your significant other. Go over it with them. Utilize this to be a better parent, a better father, a better mother. Okay? Utilize this to help your children to become better versions of themselves, because they got to be prepared for the kingdom to come. They got to be prepared for the world to come when we're separated from this place and we're gathered into our own place. Before the kingdom, we're going to be gathered into our own place, right? And rebellious children will not be tolerated. You got to prepare them for what's to come, okay? Giving all praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH BAHASHEM YAHAWAHSHI. All praise is due. Grace, peace, and blessings to my family, the elect of Israel. Shout out to the Rod of Iron family. Hope you guys were edified today. Exercise that rod of iron. You dig what I'm saying? No, I'm sorry. Exercise that rod of chastisement for your children. Reserve that rod of iron for the heathens to come. Hope you guys have a blessed evening and that you guys were edified today. I'll see you on the next one, Israel. Shalom.